Guys, what's happening? I was doing a brake job on a Chevy Malibu, and I'm like, hey, maybe somebody wants to do a brake job on their Malibu, and they'd like to see, get some tips and pointers, and maybe help them out in their driveway because it doesn't take a professional to do a brake job. Only when you screw it up. Let's get started. So I've already jacked up this vehicle. I've actually already done one side. And just show you real quick here. Got it jacked up on the control arms. You probably, if you're doing it at home, you're not going to have this lift, but that's okay. You're just going to throw a floor jack underneath. I would lift it probably on the rocker panel or the unibody. You just lift one side at a time, or do both. Use a jack stand. Jack stand's very important if you think you're going to have your head underneath the car, or your legs or anything. This isn't a safety video, just a brake job video. But here we go. I'm going to take the wheel off. Like I said, one side's already done. I got the driver's side left to do. We'll get it done. Throw my flashlight up in there, and that way you guys can have some light. Bear with me here while I prop my phone up. Oh yeah, that's going to be stellar right there. Let's get this wheel off. 19mm socket. Take these lug nuts off. I do have power tools to use because I'm not going to take a week to 10 days to do this brake job, but some people may not have power tools. Some people may. I'll show you with. There is ways around it, obviously, without power tools. But power tools are going to make the job way easier. So I'm going to turn the brakes. I'm going to turn the brakes. I'm going to turn the wheel. You can do it by the steering wheel or just muckle onto it and be rugged so I can get access at the caliper. What I'm realizing is you guys aren't going to see what I'm doing. Let me see if I can move this. I'm homesick. Oh, let's see. So much crap in the way. Oh yeah, right there. We'll get you guys into it right there. Right there. Let me throw a flashlight in here, we'll light the way. Let me just see what that looks like on the old cell phone. Yeah, it's not bad. You guys will have to deal with it a little bit. You get the rough idea. So I've got my cordless Cobalt 3/8 I've done a video on before. So this is a 14mm. I'm gonna zap the lower bolt off only. Okay. If this doesn't want to pull it by hand, grab yourself a flat-headed screwdriver, wedge it in the bottom part where you took the bolt out. You can roll this caliper up. So what I like to do before I roll it all the way off, I'll show you the reason why I don't take the upper bolt off of the caliper, is I'll pull it out with the pin on it. So what I'm doing right here is I got the screwdriver wedged. I still have the ears of the caliper on the brake pad on this side. I got it out just enough to get a screwdriver in there. I'm going to wedge it between the caliper piston and the brake pad, and I'm just going to push that piston in as far as I can. I'll double check it with a pair of pliers and I'll show you those. So now it's nice and willy-nilly free here. So I'm going to roll this baby up. And this one's going really well so far because nothing's seized up. Slide the brake pads out of the bracket. And I'm just going to roll this a little bit. Give it a couple taps with my hand. This pin feels like it's seized up a little bit. We'll check it out. So you bang on it, and this is going to slide right out. The boot's going to want to stick. You can just pull it free. This is a rubber boot. It's a dust boot. Keeps all the crap off the pin. And very carefully, just roll this out. We'll clean that up. I bet it's just the old caliper grease is just too sticky. Okay. After that, I'm going to go ahead and set this caliper up top right here, leaned up on the backing plate. I'm going to take my 15 millimeter. Again, I'm using air tools. It's a lot faster. You can do this by hand. I'm just doing it for speed wise. Okay. So zap these 15 millimeter bolts off the bracket that hold it to the steering knuckle. There's two. One up top, one down below. I went ahead and wedged the air gun in here. There you go. Oh, we got a car pulling up. You guys might be able to witness one of the drivers here at the fleet company come talk to me. Shh. So you take the bolts out, take your bracket off. Your rotor's ready to come off. Sometimes you got to smack it with a hammer to pop it off the hub. Might be too rusty. Oh, they're just vacuuming. They may not come in. So I just went over and put that rotor back in the box. They don't look too old, these brakes. The other side went metal to metal. That's why I'm changing the rotors. They don't look too old, so I'm going to hang on to them just in case we can warranty them out here at this fleet company I work for. These are the old brake pads. Ta-da! This is your little wear indicator. Kind of rides on there. Once it gets low enough, it goes... you guys roll forward your first couple brakes and you're... It's time to do brakes. It's hitting the wear indicator. It's telling you do brakes, or you're going to start grinding, possibly ruin your caliper. And if you don't care about your rotors, you can just slap pads on it if you don't dig into the rotors. I've definitely done it. It's not the perfect way, but if you're trying to get out of it on the cheap. So I'm just going to check, make sure my phone didn't move, make sure you guys can still see what I'm working on. Might just angle you up just a little. Oh, here we go. I'm going to angle you up just a little bit because I'm going to be working a little bit lower. Okay. So I'm going to start working on this bracket right here. So this caliper bracket has these clips on here. Take a screwdriver, pop them off. The set of brake pads that I get come with new ones of these. So I'm going to go ahead and file these in a trash bin. Okay. So one of the most important things to do, I'm just making sure nobody walks in on me talking to myself here. Well, not myself, I'm talking to you guys, but it seems like I'm talking to myself. You know what I mean? So the most important thing is here, guys, is where these clips ride right here, it's rusty. The most important thing to do is to clean that out. If you leave that in there, your brake pads are going to get wedged after you put your new bracketry on. Yes, I said bracketry. That's these fellows right here, nice and shiny. So we popped the old ones off, threw them away. What you have to do is clean these out, guys. It's all rusty. Some cars are worse than others. Depending on how long they've been in there, they get all crudted up. So it's going to be a little noisy. I'm going to use my air tools. I do have safety spectacles. Yes, the tool that I am using is dangerous. I'm not using it properly. You can go ahead and tell me that if you want, but I already know. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean this rust out of here. Alright guys, that's all cleaned up. I don't know if you can see that, but this is all nice and shiny in here in these channels. All the rust is gone. Okay. So the next thing you need to do is your brake pads come with caliper grease, but it's never enough for me. So you might want to buy a little extra. So I grease up these channels right here before I put my clips on, try to keep the moisture off and keep these from rusting. So I just brush it on. And, you know, be a little careful how much you're gobbing on. You know, you just want to skim coat, just enough to shed the road grime that may get underneath the moisture. So that's kind of what it looks like, what I do to grease those, okay? Your new clips come on, pay attention to the way they came off so you know how they go back on. They slide on like so, okay? Nice and free. Ta-da! Next thing you want to do is make sure this pin is not, oh God, is not seized. You want to make sure that baby's nice and free. I got these cool little cleaning rags here. I'm going to hit it with this first and see if that helps. I'm going to take the old grease off because the old grease gets hard. This caliper grease container, Stay Lube. It's not the greatest. I've used better, but it's the easiest thing to get your hands on to use. The other good stuff you have to order. I've used a variety of different things, and most shops this is the go-to. So I clean that all up. See how this is shiny? Hopefully you can see that because I can't see what I'm video recording. And I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to put new caliper grease on there. And I'm going to go ahead and put it back in its designated place. And I'm just going to work the pin in and out of the bracket a little bit here. Make sure it's not going to stick. It's a little stiff, so I'm going to get a little home remedy here. I know some of you guys may not have access to this stuff, but bear with me, I'm going to grab some. So I have a little penetrating oil in here. I got a container of penetrating oil. I'm going to squirt just a little bit in here. Oh, that might have been too much. But, oh, look at that. Makes that grease pliable. I just started doing that with some ones that are kind of sticky. There is different ways you could clean out this bracket. But I feel like that's going to work okay. I don't think heat's going to be an issue with what I use for penetrating oil. So that pin's nice and free, guys, okay? I'm going to tilt my phone again because I got another little cool tool you guys probably won't have, but I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, that's this guy here. Okay, this is a hub scrubber. I'm going to put that on my cordless 3/8. I'm going to bring you over here and I'm going to show you the hub. Oh, actually, I'm going to hold it and try to do it. Bam! That's my hub, all grimy. I'm going to show you what that white stuff is after, too. Look at that. Woo, baby. I'm going to do them all. You don't have to do this, but cleaning these hubs up is definitely a good idea, guys. Somehow, some way, I know you don't have these tools that make it easy, but you can use it for your bracket. You can use a file, sandpaper by hand. Take the time, do it, guys. Look at the crud coming off of that bad boy. It's also spit shine in the inner ring too a little bit, which is cool. The rims won't stick. See how shiny that is now? Could probably do this one over here. Let it have another go around. And last one. Don't take long. Then I'm going to put you down because I'm going to hold this tool. See how that's nice and spit shine? Nice mating surface. I'm going to put this down and I'm going to do the in-betweens now. Normally I grab a different tool, but again, I don't have all my tools at this shop, so I need 2 hands to do the inside. Not the inside, the in-between the lug studs. Almost tore my glove off. Bam. This tool is from Snap-on. It's Blue Point. I don't know where else you can get it. These we get from a supplier at my other job. I'm not sure who they buy them from, but they last forever. It's a good tool. It's a 1/2 inch, but I got it reduced down to a 3/8, that adapter, because a 1/2 inch is just too much power. I tried using my 1/2 inch and it sheared off. It kept shearing this part off. I was giving it a hot supper, you know. So anyways, done with that. So I'll pick you up here, show you what it looks like. See that, how it's all shiny? Now this next stuff, you definitely don't have to use that I'm going to spray on here. This is something this company does for rust prevention. It's definitely not necessary. But this is brake squeal medic. Put a light coat. It's just a white film. I don't know. It really does such a fantastic job, but I did already clean that rotor up, the grease off of it, with brake clean. Some people tell you you're not supposed to use brake clean, but I've been doing it for years and rotors have been just fine. I've heard you're supposed to use glass cleaner. So that's a brake squeal medic. This video is getting kind of long. Made by Gunk, and that's what this white stuff is on here. And it says it's safe to be on your brake pads, rotors. We sprayed on everything, the hub, the back end plate, try to shed some road grime. So I'm going to try to brace you back up. We're going to get this done here. Okay, so I've got a large pair of channel locks here to finish pushing in my caliper piston, just to make sure it's all the way back. You can use a C-clamp. You can use anything to push it back in. Just be careful not to damage the rubber seal. And don't break this piston. It can easily chip off. So I just hold it on the back and on the front, or on the piston. Your C-clamp, you can put one on this bolt and use a brake pad against your piston. Use an old brake pad and then push it all the way in. I actually got a C-clamp right here. I'll demonstrate. Somebody left it there. I'll show you. So you can take one of these and an old brake pad. You can put it here, you know, whatever way you want to put it in there. Okay. Put it against your caliper piston. Set that up in there like that and just crank away. And until it's all the way flat, pretty much flush with your caliper. If it doesn't want to go back in your caliper sees, buy another one. Or if it goes a little ways and then it seizes or stops, don't force it. If you have to force it, that baby's bad. It should go in pretty easy. So let's slap our rotor on. Lean this back up over here. New rotor, okay. More gunk. Coated white like snow. I'm gonna go ahead and take my caliper bracket with my bolts. Place it in here. You can put a lug nut on your stud, just one, run it down, just snug it, and it'll keep your rotor flat so it's not leaning on you. Because if I let it go, I'm going to hold it with my right hand and hold the bracket with my right hand and thread these bolts in. If I let it go, it's going to be crooked and make it a little bit hard to line this bracket up. But I've done this a few times, so I'll be all right. Okay, got my bolts started. Yes, I am going to run these in with my 1/2-inch impact. Judge me if you want to. Some people say, oh my God, you can't use your impact. Not supposed to, you're supposed to torque it. Not torquing it. That's my torque spec. Okay, that baby's on, guys. Get your new brake pads like so. I always put this one with the squealer. I always put it on the inside, and I like to put it down. Down by me when it slides in the bracket. It's on the inside, facing down. Take my caliper grease, okay, and I'm going to grease up the parts that make contact on this bracket. Those silver brackets, the new ones I got. It's going to help it keep from getting stuck, nice and free. Keep the stuff off from the road, rain, whatever. Set it inside, slide it home. They slide in really easy, guys. If you cleaned it up nice, you shouldn't have to push those in hard. They should slide in nice and easy. If you have to fight it in there and it's going really hard, either one, you don't have it lined up, or two, you didn't do your cleaning properly, or your brake pads are wrong. But if you cleaned it up nice and lubed everything well, you want to be careful not to get stuff all over your friction surface here. If you do, you want to clean it off. I got a little grease on this one here, so I'm going to wipe it off with this scrubber rags that we have here. So this one's going to go on the outside, lean it in. Look how nice and free that moves. That's what you want to see. If you're like, that's not right, you don't leave it like that. And take my little scrubbing rag here. You can use brake clean, whatever you want to use to clean this. This is my upper pin on my caliper bracket. It's got a rubber insulator. Okay, I got that nice and clean. I'm going to put some caliper grease on this pin all the way around it. I'll rotate this caliper up and down a few times to work it in there good. I'm going to squirt some of my juice in there. Oh, plenty. Okay, you just lean it back. Make sure you don't lose your boot. And don't kink your hose, guys. Pay attention to your hose, your caliper hose for your brake fluid. Don't kink that or twist it like I just did. Okay, it goes in a little hard, but with some patience. Okay, you got to get the right angle. And mine's not going in easy here, so I'm going to see what's going on. I think it's that. Oh, there we go. Might have just been a little crooked, so I'm just going to check it. Okay, I want it to move in and out nice and free. See that? Okay, after you're done, I'm just going to roll this down. Bam. And on the Malibus, guys, make sure you have your pin down here on your caliper. It has to be rotated the right way. Don't bolt it in crooked, okay? Once it's there, it'll stay in place all on its own. I'm going to take my caliper bolt we took out, one of the first steps, with my 14mm socket. I'm going to run this in with my 3/8. I'm going to take my hand ratchet and just make sure that baby's snug. I don't want them coming loose. I'm going to do the upper one even though I didn't loosen it. I'm just going to check it. It's done. I'm going to spray some more medic on here. That's it, guys. Brake job's done. And then I'm going to throw the wheel on. I know, and my other job, I don't do brake jobs with a squeal medic, just here. All right. That's it. The hose. This is the pin I was talking about. Make sure it's lined up into your bracket. You can end up with it crooked and leaned way out here. But that's it. That's a done deal right there. That pin right there. See how it slides in there? Make sure it's in there like that. If it's not, you'll have problems. Done deal. All greased up, ready for use. Alright guys, later.